Hey, welcome to Pit Stop with Don and James. I'm Don.
I'm James.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Good, man. Just finishing up the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, pretty exciting. We got a lot of talk about in Formula One news, even beyond just the race results. But yeah, we're in mid March. I can't believe it.
Hard to believe, and two races in.
Two races in.
A lot more of an interesting season than I thought it was going to be, quite honestly. There's so much to talk about, especially with this race, and I don't even think we had this much to talk about last time around at the Chinese Grand Prix. We had the double disqualifications last time around, right? And I think that was just about it. But this time, we had 4 drivers not start the Grand Prix. What a bummer.
Yeah, reliability is definitely still an issue here with these new regulations. The hybrid engine with the 50/50 electric internal combustion engines. We've seen 4 did not starts, and 3 did not finishes. And I think all of them were more mechanical did not finishes. They weren't like wasn't like a crash into the wall, right? So
right,
it's like kind of
despite with the one on track real accident collision coming together, and those guys just kept running.
Yeah, right.
But it's the electrics that are doing the issues this year around, which is terrible, right? I mean, Oscar Piastri hasn't even been able to start a race yet.
Yeah, it's been a disaster for McLaren, given where they were last year. The constructors champion, the driver champion. They are clearly not as fast, and now we're seeing that they got issues with their reliability, which is the worst thing that can happen. I mean, Aston Martin has been a disaster as well. They haven't been able to finish races yet, but we knew that before the season started that they had issues. They're getting such vibrations that they were worried about the drivers suffering nerve damage in their hands if they carried on past 25 laps or so. But with McLaren,
and I believe that was the reason for Fernando Alonso's, right? I don't know if you saw, there was video footage of him going down the back straight and him just taking his hands off the wheel because his hands were hurting so bad, which is the reason he ended up retiring. Is he's like, I can't do it. I think the car could have made it to the end, but he physically could not, just because the vibrations were so bad in his hands.
I mean, that's insane. That is really insane that it's come to that. He did 35 laps out of 56. So maybe that's a little bit of a step in the right direction, but we expect more from them. There's 2 weeks between now and the Japanese Grand Prix. So maybe the extra week off gives some of these teams some time to figure some of this stuff out. I really hope so, that the bigger gaps between race weeks will give them time to diagnose and troubleshoot.
I wonder if Aston Martin will meet up at Honda over in Japan and just go, what the heck? Like, we have to. I think that it's a huge advantage for Aston Martin with Japan being the next race, because if they can put their cars at the Japanese headquarters and utilize the Honda facilities, I think it could be a huge stepping stone. This Japanese Grand Prix might be the turnaround if they are able to diagnose all the issues with a lot of people hands-on over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a good point. Maybe they do need a physical presence there to drive it home. I don't know.
Hopefully, my fingers are crossed. There haven't been reliabilities this bad since the thousands, I think.
Yeah,
I think we've been pretty lucky, especially you coming in with the Drive to Survive. All those cars were already finishing the races. There wasn't a lot of reliability issues. If there was, it was like a one-off. It was odd and just abnormal, right?
yeah.
But now it's the common thing. I said Piastri hasn't started a race yet. Audi, they've had one car not start in both Grand Prix. and now we see it affecting the Williams. It's definitely affecting the Aston Martins. The one team that it seems to kind of skirted this time is Cadillac.
Yeah,
They had that
Cadillac.
one. They had that one skirmish where they committed the cardinal sin of hitting each other, but other than that, they finished the race, man.
Yeah, I mean that is actually a positive thing for a brand new team like Cadillac. They're really slow.
Yeah.
It's so slow that it's kind of painful when you want to root for our American team out there. Fortunately, Haas is picking up the slack for the Americans, though. That's why I'm wearing the hat today. It was
Yes.
a great finish for Ollie Behrman, who has really been just driving the wheels off of the Haas in the first two races and in the sprint race. So yeah, I've been really pleased with Haas. I mean, that's been fun to watch. So
Yeah, I might have to invest in a Haas hat and start rooting for the home team. But until then, I'm gonna keep rocking the Williams gear. I've even got Williams socks on, which you cannot see. But they finished in the points. They scored a points finish. I saw the little post race reel that James Voles does, and he was, obviously expressed his disappointment that Albon couldn't start the race. He said he felt that he could have gotten points. So I don't know how true that is. I guess we'll find out in Japan. Japan's a little more tricky of a course, I would say. Um, I mean, every course has its particulars, right? But I personally love the Japanese Grand Prix. I have big hopes for Williams, especially if the upper cars continue to have electrical issues. If we see the Audis out again and we see the McLarens out, I think another points finish is in the cards for Williams.
yeah, you bring up an interesting point. If you can at least get reliability down, you've got a chance in this early part of the season because
Yeah,
you don't know who's going to drop out. I mean, when a team like McLaren has two cars not start, which happened today, suddenly that opens up a couple slots where people who might not have scored points otherwise could get some points. So it, it's is reliability is enormous in this current situation. I think maybe once they hammer out all the kinks, it won't be as big of a problem. But you can cash in if you can get at least your cars to finish the race.
right. I mean, we even saw an electrical issue with George Russell during qualifying. I think that's the first
Right.
electrical issue we've seen from Mercedes, and I thought it was amazing. George Russell suffered a little bit of a electrical hiccup,
Mm-hmm.
did a full reset on the car by himself, and then got it going. That is what I like to see right there.
Yep.
My hope is that when cars spin out, end out on gravel or out in the boonies in the corner, that they can just reboot the car themselves and then get back going. That is what I want to see.
Yeah, I agree. I hate seeing a car that could keep going, not end up keep going. Like nothing irks me more in this sport than a car getting beached in the gravel, where it's like, oh, they just spun out. They might not even have spun out. They just had a lockup, went into the gravel, then they get stuck out there, and it's like, well, the car could have finished. Just give them, 6 inches of a push, and they can go. But no, they have to tow them out of there, and that's it, the end. But
That's one of the
so
things I think IndyCar does right. If a car spins out or gets beached, you get the guys on the truck and they just pull it out on a tow rope, get them unbeached, and then they just send them on the way. Or
yeah,
even if the car stalls up, they have the starters on the trucks. Guys just show up, start it up, and the guy just gets going again.
yeah,
It makes it way more interesting in the long run.
yeah. I agree. Yeah. Well, I guess we didn't really recap who all didn't start the race, did we? I mean, we kind of glossed over it. There was both of the McLarens didn't start, and then Gabriel Bortoleto did not start the race, and Alex Albon did not start the race. All four of those cars with some sort of uh, mechanical issue with their vehicles. There wasn't a lot said in the broadcast about it. I think we had to kind of like check the debrief
Right.
afterward. And you kind of recapped it. I think it was electrical and maybe a hydraulic issue for was it the Williams that had the hydraulic issue?
And Audi had a hydraulic issue. All that's been said, I think, about the McLarens is that it was some sort of electrical issue. So
Yeah.
some spiders in the mechanical there.
Yep. And then of course we had the two Astons did not finish. and Alonso made it 35 laps. I can't. Stroll didn't make it very long. I can't remember exactly what
I
happened. I
think he
think his
only made
car
it
just
like
died.
9 laps. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, and then Max Verstappen had a mechanical issue. Seemed like he slowed down to take a corner and then just couldn't get back on any kind of power. I don't know if that's a gearbox issue of some kind. Um, not really sure what happened there. He just lost all power and then had to limp back around the track. So this to kind of tie it back your point earlier. If mechanical issues are taking out a guy like Max Verstappen, I mean that is a huge wild card. When I mean everybody's kind of waiting. Red Bull has not looked strong, but usually what happens is Max makes no mistakes and finds speed around the track. And I have just been surprised. He has spun a couple times. He has locked up and gone wide a few times. He is not loving this car. I mean, that should be a pretty big story, right?
Yeah,
Max
and he
Verstappen.
still has yet to find his groove when it comes to the starts. We
Yeah,
saw
his
it in
starts have been
Australia.
terrible.
He dropped right back, and then today again dropped back. Not as far back, but he still dropped back. I think he lost 6, 7 places on the opening start. The one team that has it figured out is Ferrari for the starts. Oh my gosh, they are unbelievably fast off the line, but it's just during the race they can't keep the pace. I don't know what it is.
It is obvious that the two fastest cars out there are the Mercedes, which is unquestionably the fastest car overall. They they are dominating. It's like ridiculous how much they're dominating. They won this race 1-2. Huge congratulations to Kimi Antonelli, who got his first ever race win. He was choked up after the race. He it was fantastic for him. He's the first Italian race winner in 20 some odd years. Uh, he's one of the younger race winners ever at 19 years old. It was an amazing performance by him. And then George Russell came in second, and they were within I don't know, it was like 8 or 9 seconds of each other. And part of that was because Kimi, in one of the final laps, probably like last second or third last lap, he went wide. Just was it turn one where he was just like hauling butt down the straight, and then he just braked really
The
later.
last turn at the end of the straight, the hairpin.
Oh, okay, yeah, he
Yeah,
just went
just
wide and didn't lose
that was
it.
a
Just
weird lockup too. Like I don't think that was him. I think that was the car giving him a little something.
yeah, maybe so. Went wide and lost a couple seconds on George, but nothing really to worry about.
Yeah. And then
And
his engineer came on. He's like, just relax. We just got to bring it home.
yeah,
Like,
Bono.
totally spooked out.
Yep. So that was interesting, but yeah, he dominated. George was second place, and then it was like a 20-second gap to Lewis Hamilton, who came in third. He's on the podium. Lewis seems to love the Shanghai track.
Yes.
Part of why I predicted he would beat Charles this weekend, and luckily I got that one right. Yes, but yeah, and everybody was pumped to see Lewis back on the podium. I think I know I was. I'm not even like that huge of a Lewis Hamilton fan. I just want to see him doing well and not struggling so bad. And he even said in the post race interview it was one of the most fun races he's had recently, if not ever. So I mean, I guess that we should get into that because there was a huge battle between Lewis and Charles. They had a great launch and there was great battles for the race lead actually at the beginning. Lewis just shot off the line and overtook Kimi. And we've seen this now in the first two races that in the early laps we're seeing tons of battles for first place. I feel like they're exciting to watch, but they're also somewhat not meaningful because long distance Mercedes clearly has the edge. So it's just like you're just waiting to see when the Mercedes is going to clear whoever
Right.
stole first. But that was kind of my initial impression. What were your thoughts about the race starts, and then maybe tell me about what you were thinking about the Ferraris battle?
Yeah, man. the Shanghai circuit is a tricky circuit. Um, except when it comes to that long straightaway, that's typically where the overtakes are happening. But we saw overtakes all over the track, which is a little unusual. And that Ferrari Mercedes um, battle was really good to watch. There's a lot of close racing, and then even just the Ferraris going back and forth. Uh, totally respectful, came close a few times, but ultimately kept it clean. And but that wasn't unique to just the front runners. There was great racing throughout the whole field. We saw the Haas's, the Alpines, the Racing Bulls, the Red Bulls. All those guys had something going on at one point or the other during the race. I will say, I do want to point out a radio message from George Russell as he was trying to get by the Ferraris. He made a comment, something to the effect of, "Oh man, these Ferraris are faster in all the right places." So I imagine that's got to be maybe the low speed corners. You know, we see them take off from a dead stop way faster than the Mercedes at the start of the race. So probably something in that lower power coming off the slower corners is where they get that jump, I would imagine. But it's just those high speeds. That's where the Mercedes really shines. I mean, I can't remember if it was Kimi or Russell that was coming down the back straight early on. And he passed the Ferrari like the Ferrari was standing still. It wasn't even that hard for him to do. So, man,
Yeah, that's
it was great racing all the way through the whole race. It's a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be, quite honest.
yeah. Uh, that was a great call back to George's radio message. I thought it was a little funny because he said that and then and then
He
passed the
got by
Ferrari
him.
within like half a lap. But yeah, it was. You're right about that. I think that's a good observation that maybe at low speed they have good acceleration, and if you have that, what it gives you is it takes away a place, a spot on the track where they might be able to overtake. Because even if you are a faster car, you always have to pick where you're going to overtake somebody. But yeah, the Mercedes just has too much. It's good. It's a good high speed car, and it seems like over the course of race, a whole full Grand Prix length, you just can't keep up with them. And it has something to do with the fact that Kimi seems to have a lot of talent as well, and George definitely has some talent. So they're pushing these cars pretty hard and getting what they need to out of the Mercedes. But I really like to see Ferrari do something, um, because it's been cool to see them being so much more competitive. Here's another observation that I feel like is starting to shape up is that these cars are nimble. I feel like there has been some really close calls this year that in last year's car they might have ended up in contact. You might have seen the reel from last week in Australia where Colapinto nearly hit the back of another car, and he just was able to make a
Oh, at the
really
start, yeah.
agile move to the right to get around. I can't remember if it was a Racing Bulls car, but he it was very quick twitch to get around. And then I felt like as the Ferraris were battling today, they were very close to each other. I mean, and the number of times that they were wheel to wheel through a turn and not make contact with each other, or I think they might have touched once according to Lewis, but it was insignificant. But when you're going that close at that high of a speed through a turn and to not make contact, I think that maybe is a testament to the fact that these cars have good, lateral motion, which is good. I think it's a good thing for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's definitely got to be the shorter wheelbase on the cars. I am curious about the Ferrari cars. They've tested that, what's been termed as the Macarena wing. I think Lewis Hamilton just called it the flippy wing. They seem to be putting it in the practice sessions, but not when it comes to actual qualifying and the race. I got to be honest. That's what I really want to see out there. I think I would
Like,
imagine, like, I want to see it in the race. I want to see how it affects the drivers coming up behind them. if it gives the Ferraris a bigger advantage with how the air is coming off the back wing, if it's going to make it harder for the cars to get around them. That's what I want to see put into play.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough about what it does to know if it
Me
would
either.
cause something significant, but why do we think we look for innovation, right? Like that's a thing,
Right.
a big part of this sport. So if it does seem like it works, but I'm guessing it like must not do that much, or they would throw it out there for the Grand Prix, right? They wouldn't just keep testing it in the
Well, they
practice
keep
session.
testing it, so they must want to use it. So,
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe it'll be
who
good for
knows?
some tracks, but not others. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we talked about some very clean racing. I think it's time we switch gears and talk about some not so clean racing because there was one major incident in the whole Grand Prix, and that was Ocon coming together with Franco Colapinto. Franco had just come out of the pits. I think Ocon was just thinking, like, I have to get around him. He's going to be on cold tires. And this track does not like cold tires, as we've seen. So I think he was just like, I got to get by him. I got to get by him. Got to get by him. And he made a pretty bonehead move. He immediately owned up to it, said it was my fault. Even in his Instagram story, he put, I take full responsibility for it. So good on him. Ultimately ruined his day. I think he got a 10-second 10-second penalty
Yep.
from it. It didn't really matter anyways. He finished a lap down. He had a bunch of damage to his car. His race was pretty much done. So, but what a bonehead move.
Yeah.
It was so unfortunate. Franco, they were both running really good races.
Luckily, it didn't ruin Franco's race. He finished in P10, got the last point, so that was really a good day for Alpine. Ultimately, maybe he would have done better had he not had the bit of contact there. Not sure. It was a funny. There was a bit of a funny broadcast moment where uh, they were talking about they cut to, I think it was after the sprint maybe, and Flavio Briatore was giving Franco Colapinto a hug. I don't know if you saw this.
No,
He
I didn't see it.
kind of put his arm around him, gave him a hug, and I think it was Coulthard that said he's trying to soften his image because he looked pretty mean in Drive to Survive. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but Flavio really, like, they showed him multiple times being frustrated with last year's drivers and the car, and he came off a little bit rude. And so
Yeah, that's just Flavio being Flavio.
yeah, right. I know, but it was just a funny moment that they noticed. The cameras caught Flavio giving a hug to Colapinto, but yeah, uh, there was another near miss too that I didn't mention, and that was Hadjar locking up and spinning around, spinning around facing the wrong way on the track at one point, and there was
Yes.
cars that were right near him. I'm trying to remember who was right next to him. Do you remember? Was it Lawson maybe?
I can't remember. That's so far early into the race. I will say it was a really good recovery by Isaac Hadjar. I'm glad you brought him up because that spin put him all the way at the back of the field,
Yep.
and he recovered all the way up to 8th.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic drive.
So yeah, we're seeing some stuff that's just kind of unexpected. If you look beyond the first 4 drivers, there is stuff that's happening. That's kind of cool. I mean, I thought his day was done. He was lucky it wasn't done from just crashing into people. Again, the nimble cars, they were able to avoid contact with him when he spun around. Sometimes I wonder if spins like that were being caused because of the MGUK, the rear axle energy recovering. And that was seemingly what happened to Max in the first race, or the first qualifying session in Australia. His electrical recovery unit just like locked up his rear axle under braking, and he spun out. So that's a danger, and there has been a lot that the drivers have been complaining about on social media and in the interviews, that they don't like the cars as much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that everybody said it. I'd have to say Lewis likes this car better than the last car. So yeah, but lots of the racers, including Max Verstappen, and I think at least Lando Norris from the McLaren team, who have said these cars are not good. We don't like them. They're too weird. There's too much of a hybrid engine. So, but anyway, it's made for very interesting racing so far.
Yeah, and if this is how it's going to be the rest of the season, then it's going to be an all-out fight for the Mercedes for who comes in first for the drivers' championship, and then it's going to be a tough race just between Ferrari coming in for that third and fourth spot. Barring any unforeseen circumstances that may arise. We saw that today or this weekend that Mercedes is not immune to the electrical issues. We haven't seen anything come up on the Ferraris yet, but that doesn't mean it won't. So it's going to be, even though it's just one team and one team that are dominating the front, it's still going to be interesting to see who comes out on top at the very end. So it is going to still make for an interesting season.
Yeah, I highly suspect or expect that there's going to be more parity as we get towards the end of the season, that other teams will catch up in their development, in the reliability, and in the just the probably, like, I guess you'd call it like the strategy. There's been another element of strategy beyond just tire management now, with deploying electric management. And a term that I kind of heard for the first time in the broadcast was I'm trying to remember what they called it. Like, it was like the hybrid engine yo-yo. And that was sort of what we're seeing, where like one guy will deploy a lot of
Yes.
electrical energy and get ahead of somebody else, but then he's drained his electrical and has to start to recapture electrical, and the guy behind didn't use as much, so then he goes ahead. And I mean, you want to say that that's really what we want to see, right? We've talked about it. I think last season we talked about, what makes a good Grand Prix, and overtakes is one of the biggest things. And it does that electrical deployment seems to add this element where you can close a gap really quickly and fight for an overtake. And so they're getting it right, I think, there. Um, in that we're seeing more overtakes, especially battles up near the front. But in the end, it ends up kind of settling into an order, and then it's kind of similar to what we've seen in the past. But yeah, I think that this is, I don't know. I haven't written it off as a bad car. Like that, as a guy who's not driving, I'm just watching the the action out there. I think we do see more action and a little bit more drama as far as trying to figure out how to use the car the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And although the racing is great at the beginning against the Mercedes and the Ferraris, there was action going on the whole race between everybody else.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
even though you might not be watching the front, that midfield is something to watch. I think Alpine have really stepped it up, and the drivers know it, man. Especially when you look at the Racing Bulls, man. Arvin Lindblad and I'm gonna blank on his name right now. What's his name?
Liam Lawson.
Liam Lawson. That's who it is. That's who I'm thinking of. That guy. Uh, those guys are feisty, man. They are so stinking feisty in these cars.
Yeah.
And then you throw the Haas guys in there too. All those guys are jockeying for position constantly throughout the race. And I get the feeling that's how it's going to be the rest of the season, right? Because right now Haas is leading in fourth. Then you got Red Bull Racing, and then Racing Bulls in the Alpine. But Alpine, I think they have the ability. Had Colapinto not come together with Ocon, I think it would have been a much better result for the Alpine. I think Colapinto would have finished ahead of the Haas guys.
Yeah, Alpine found something, and this is good news for them. And maybe the thing they found was that they switched to a Mercedes engine. I don't know. But you know what's also interesting, I found, is that testing took place this year, and a lot of times we can't tell a lot from testing. And everybody was excited for testing this year because they wanted to see what the new cars would do. They wanted to see what the likes of like Cadillac or Audi, the new
Right.
groups out there. I mean, Audi's not exactly new, but Cadillac for sure, brand new. But we are seeing play out what people did kind of predict from the testing, which I think was interesting. Everybody thought that Alpine had made a step forward, and that seems to be the case. I mean, Gasly got P6 and was really contending for P5 in the race today, um, and then everybody sort of knew that Mercedes looked like they had the best car, and I mean that is like absolutely been proved. People thought that Lewis looked stronger. There was still questions about McLaren, and that seems to have panned out. So I think actually the testing gave away more than we're used to seeing this year, at least with just two Grand Prix and one sprint under our belt so far. Um, so yeah, I thought that was an interesting little tracing that one through was interesting because I haven't felt like it's really been that clear from the testing in previous years, at least in the recent couple of years.
Yeah, and I thought Red Bull Racing would be doing a lot better, but in all fairness, they have not had a clean race for either driver.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, we saw in Australia for Isaac Hadjar, he had a DNF. Uh, Max Verstappen couldn't figure out the start and was just basically doing a makeup the whole time. And then he had the same issue in this past weekend over in China, and ultimately ended up DNFing. But I mean, he was trying to make up time the whole race. He did get caught out by the yellow flag, which was unfortunate. Having pit a lap earlier, that didn't do him any favors. But then Hadjar had that huge spin at the front, and he was just basically trying to do makeup the whole time. So I think if we had a very clean race, we could probably see how things are truly stacked up going against the Red Bulls and the McLarens. But we just need that clean race to happen. And Japan will not be that clean race, I think. Japan can be tricky.
yeah, yeah, it can be. And I just the Red Bull, they're going to figure something out. I don't think that they'll continue on like this because it's been a kind of a disaster for them. Uh, in Australia, Max was able to make up ground and get a P6, I think it was in Australia, from
Fantastic drive.
basically from a miracle given that he was out of qualifying right at the start and then dropped back on the race start. Like he's uh he was able to pull something together, but then this time it was reliability just got him. But I seem to remember a couple of years ago they had sort of a similar issue with some reliability and hammered it out. I think they'll get it figured out. It's just a matter of when. And then this week, of course, Hadjar kind of again good recovery drive for him. So there's still something in the tank. I think they've got two good drivers. I think Hadjar has kind of proven himself to be better than others in the second seat at Red Bull. But yeah, you're right. We got to get a clean look at this thing. We got to see him have a strong weekend, kind of almost from start to finish, and then kind of get a sense of what they're really capable of doing. But man, the Haas cars look pretty dang good, man. I think from a team that has had some difficulty, Ollie Behrman is really
Behrman is
showing that.
crushing it.
Yeah, he is becoming one of my favorite drivers. He looks really good out there.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad you brought him up because I wanted to bring him up too. I mean, when we first saw Behrman do that substitute race for Ferrari, he finished in the top 10, I believe, right? Maybe
Yeah,
maybe a
yeah, he did.
sixth or an eighth or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was despite his neck giving out like halfway through the race. Just an unbelievable talent from that guy. He ran a really good race. Everybody was singing his praises. Gets thrown into Haas. Uh, a little shaky of a start, but this year, man, this year seems to be his year for that team.
Yeah. Uh, I think he's a
Knocking on
Ferrari.
wood.
Yeah, Ferrari Academy driver, right? And he's driving a Haas with a Ferrari engine, and he's getting the most out of it. I think they should be really proud of that. I mean, when he is the next car behind the two clear front runners, he's overdriving the capability of that Haas, I think. So I might have helped that the McLarens weren't out there, but I got to tell you, like I haven't seen anything really amazing out of the McLarens so far. They haven't proved that they deserve to be the next one in line. So I think it's wide open once you get past those Ferraris in the order.
If you can get past them.
Yeah, well, I just mean like you got clearly like the Mercedes are in the first one, and then the Ferraris seem to be the next fastest car, and then after that, it seems like it's just it's kind of a wait and see. I don't know that the McLaren is clearly the number 3 fastest car, or the Red Bull the clear number 4 fastest car. We've seen enough battling. I think we got to give it a little more time to figure out who's really that next best car.
Yeah. I will say it is a little sad this year. I miss seeing Yuki Tsunoda cruising around.
The fans,
I wish he was still in here.
Yeah. Well, he didn't do himself any favors last year. He would argue that the car just wasn't good, but he wasn't
He
getting
can
the
argue
results.
that all he want. He finished 17th in the standings.
Yeah.
When Max was all the way up in second.
I know.
So
yeah.
That's a tough one to argue.
The fans next week or next race are gonna miss him as well. Would have been his home race. Yeah, that'll be a bummer for the Japanese fans to not see their hometown guy out there.
He's a reserve driver, right? So I'm sure he's still cruising around. I'm sure he'll show up in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but they had. Oh, I'm gonna mess his name up. I'm gonna do it. The old Kick Sauber guy. Who was he? Zhou. Zhou was cruising around this weekend for his home Grand Prix. So that was kind of nice to see. It was good to see him cruising around. I miss seeing him on the grid too. I think Zhou is still a fantastic driver. I think he has so much more to offer. I wish he would get another chance to come back in.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. He seemed to do fairly well, and like I was gonna say, between Joe and Sonoda, I kind of felt like Joe showed a little more promise, but that's kind of unfair because Yuki did do just as well in the Racing Bull. It would seem to be the Red Bull car that just didn't suit him or something, and so yeah, I don't know. And Aston, is it Aston that's got the Honda engine this year? Yeah. So Honda's still in the game. I don't know if there's room to kind of finagle a spot for Yuki. I don't know, but Honda is not looking good because the power unit seems to be the thing causing the vibrations in the Aston car. So I don't know how long that partnership's going to last if that keeps up.
I mean, Zhou was the reserve driver for Ferrari last year, and you're not a part of Ferrari unless Ferrari think you're worth something. So, although he's with Cadillac now, which I think is a good move, he's back alongside Valtteri, who was his former teammate. So there's probably a little bit of repertoire going on there. I still think, given the chance, I think Zhou would be the guy, man. I think he's still got something to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I would welcome him back for sure. I thought he was good.
Yeah. So maybe you touched a little bit on it earlier, but we like to make some bold predictions, and you're still kicking my butt this year, man. So I said both Ferraris were going to be on the podium. I was 1 for 2, and I said both Haas were in the points, which would have been true had Ocon not come together with the Alpine. You said both Audis were going to be in the points. One didn't even start, and you said Hamilton ahead of Leclerc, which you got right. So you are leading 3-1 this year. It's a pretty good start for you.
Well, I'll take it, but it's a long season. We got a lot of bold predictions to mess up from between here and the end of the season. Man.
Well, it seems like I'm completely messing up already.
You could make it up in 1 week if it goes your way.
Well, maybe next week is where I come back, because I have said that the Williams are going to be in the points again, whether that's Albon or Sainz, I will be happy with either, and I will continue to rock the Williams merch. Should they do that, I'm gonna steal yours. Well, I'm not gonna steal yours, so I'm gonna repeat mine of doing both Haas in the points, and then I'm gonna put George back ahead of Kimi for the Japanese Grand Prix. I'm gonna go for 3 this week.
Yeah. I mean, you played it a little safe with that last one because it could be George any given week. But
yeah.
So I'm gonna let
I need to get at least one right.
I'm gonna let that count as a bold prediction. But okay, so and then I had a couple bold predictions for this week. The first one being that I'm predicting that Hulkenberg is going to score his first points in Japan. He was one off of the points this go around in P11. Reliability obviously is going to be huge to make that bold prediction happen, but I want to see it happen. So we'll see Hulkenberg in the points. Let's see, what were my other bold predictions? I said that McLaren. This might be a little bit of wishful thinking on my part here, but McLaren is going to in qualifying get a P3. I think I'll say P3 or higher, but I'm going to say P3 in qualifying. So I'm hoping that they figure something out in the 2-week break between China and Japan. So that's my hope there. And what was my third one, James? I might have
Pierre.
Oh yeah, Pierre Gasly outperforms Ollie Behrman. So they were 5 and 6 this week. Behrman in P5, Gasly in P6. It's been a great run for Pierre this year. I'm happy for the guy. He's been around this sport for a while. He's got a lot of talent. He's been in some crap cars. And the Alpine has given him a chance to score points and decent points too, not just fighting for P10. So I'm going to say Pierre goes ahead of Ollie this next race.
Hey, yeah, man, they were pretty stinking close this weekend. So I think that might be the only one that you're going to get next week. The McLaren in the top 3 is a bit of wishful thinking, and Hulkenberg, man, you are right. It is going to come down to the reliability. They've only had one car start each race this year. Yep. So I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Gabriel Bortoleto scored in the first race, if I'm not mistaken. He came in P9, so I think the car can do it. I think Hulk has the talent. He was one place off. It's not, but it still seems bold because of that reliability issue. So let's hope that he gets around the track without his power unit.
It's Hulkenberg's turn to miss next week's race. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, well, man, that's true.
Yeah.
If they're gonna flip flop it every week, then I'm gonna be hosed.
Yeah, and I think maybe we should touch on the news as well for the full schedule of the Grand Prix. There is not going to be any Grand Prix this upcoming April. They have canceled the Bahrain Grand Prix and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Super bummed about everything that's going on in the world. It's definitely, not what we like to see from either side, and it's more than just ruining a sport that we love. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree and wanted to say the same thing. I am bummed. I love the Jeddah Grand Prix.
I know you love that one.
I like that, the track and everything, but the least of our concerns is for the loss of a couple races on the schedule. Hearts and thoughts go out to the people in Iran who are in the middle of a conflict in the Middle East with the United States and some others. We don't get into politics too much. So, whether you agree or disagree with what's happening, there's one thing that's for sure: war sucks. And I hate that it's happening for all the reasons. But yeah. So to the fans out there, our hearts go out to them, and stay safe as much as one can in a war zone.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate what's going on, and I think you're right. Whether no matter how you view it, the one thing we can all agree on is that war sucks, and
Yeah.
as evolved as we like to think we are, we're not showing it at the moment.
Yep. Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself, man.
Yeah, and that's a pretty solemn note to go out on. So maybe I'll just say really quick, I'm really excited that the season is going on for the races that we do have. I'm excited for the Japanese Grand Prix. I I, I still think the season is gonna shape up to be a really good season. Now that we don't have those races in April, it gives all the teams an opportunity to maybe go do some testing and do some hard hitting work back at their home bases. I really hope Cadillac can figure it out, and I really hope Aston Martin can figure it out. We saw Cadillac being the only team down 3 laps in Australia. They were only down 1 lap this time, so a bit of an improvement. Both cars have finished the race. Just can't keep running into each other, man.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I will be watching Cadillac closely. They're slow. They're back at the back of the grid, but finishing these races is huge for them. Getting both cars around and finishing the race gives them data to go off of. They're investing heavily, I think, so they're going to be trying to do whatever they can to figure this out. And then to like, I think Bottas and Checo are both like likable uh, uh, drivers in this sport with a lot of fans behind them. So it's cool to see them out there and not see them sitting on the sidelines as reserve drivers or wherever they might have been had they not gotten the chance to drive for Cadillac. And I was thinking about this. There's 22 cars out on the grid, which is unusual. It's been 20 for quite a while. There's 22 cars, but they're not 22 cars have not finished any of the contests yet, So,
Right.
I mean, today there was 7 cars that never even got across. Even in the short sprint race, there was, I think, 3 DNFs. So, uh, you know, right now it's almost like there isn't an extra team out there. So,
Yeah. And, just to kind of put that point of how much they're investing, I don't know if you saw, but in Australia, I believe it was Australia. I'm getting my weekends all confused up recently, but the CEO of General Motors was there, Mary Barra. So, definitely doing a little hands-on oversight of what her company is doing. So, I hope that means something.
yeah.
Paying, if the CEO is paying extra attention and showing up.
Yeah.
So, it's still all to play for. We're only 2 races in. 2 races have been knocked off the calendar, but there's still 20. So that puts it at 22 races this year is what we got, and we're only on number 3. So it is still a long way to go.
Yep, absolutely. Pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, we're cruising down on it, but I think that might be a good place to finish off, ending on some positive vibes of things we're looking forward to. And I'll say see you later. Or what did we say? Adios. We say adios.
Adios, man.
Adios.
It's always adios.
Adios.
Adios, James.
Adios.